Nevada, California, how do you feel?
We feel good! Oh, so good!
Got it?
Yeah.
Do y'all want to try it?
One more.
Nevada, California, how do you feel?
We feel good! Oh, so good!
Oh, that is so much fun. One of our previous regional officer teams came up with that chant. I don't remember which team it was, but that has stuck around. That's all I got to say.
On Mexican fast food. He graduated from Anaheim High School. There he was an honor student, a member of the yearbook and school newspaper staff. He continued his education at Orange Coast College, Chapman University, and UCLA. He's a lifelong resident of Orange County and is the proud son of 2 Mexican immigrants. It is with great pleasure that I introduce to you our keynote speaker for this afternoon. Let's give a warm welcome to Gustavo Arellano.
Thank you. Community, you want the rest of the world to think pretty highly of you folks, or at least respect what you do, but more often than not, you're going to get ridiculed. You're going to get stereotyped. You're going to face an uphill battle. And I'm not going to talk about my Latino identity, really my Mexicano identity, although that's very, very important to me. But specifically, I'm going to talk about my Orange County identity. Because in terms of trying to make a difference, in terms of trying to shift people's mind about something that most people don't even think should be shifted, really the best example I could give you is Orange County. So how many of you are from Orange County right now?
Yeah!
Okay. So about half the room. The rest of you who are not from Orange County, when you think about Orange County, what do you think about? You can yell it out and I'll just read it. Disneyland, of course. I see all those mouse ears out there. What else?
Huntington Beach.
Hollywood, interesting. Orange County and Hollywood. What else? Isaac Newton. Oh, that's an interesting one.
Surfing.
Angels, I heard. Dogs. What else? Real Housewives of Orange County. One person said Latinos, which I absolutely love, because most people wouldn't. How about crazy-ass Republican politics? Any of you? How about white supremacists? Yeah! How about some of the worst hate groups in the United States? Yay! How about just boring? Get me the hell out of here, Orange County. Kind of. That was all those negatives that I had. That's really what the historical reputation of Orange County has been. Orange County, up until a couple years ago, or if people thought about Orange County at all, not to trash people you might not agree with, but people would identify it as white, as rich, as suburban, as not just Republican, but crazy Republican, like really, really crazy Republican. Disneyland, of course, all of it really superficial and totally out of tune with the quote-unquote real United States, with the United States that matters. And the funny thing with that is that I'm born and raised in Anaheim. My entire life I've lived in Orange County, and that has never been the full Orange County to me. If anything, that hasn't even been the real Orange County to me. Someone said Real Housewives of Orange County. That is a part of Orange County, definitely. I know that Orange County, but that's not even a microcosm. What's smaller than a micro for you scientist people? There's macro, there's micro, what's nano? I love it. Yeah, you see, I'm not a scientist. A nanocosm of Orange County. That's what the Real Housewives of Orange County is. The funny thing is, though, I had no idea about this Orange County until, until 1999, when something happened that made me think, I'm going to devote my life to try to change people's idea of what Orange County is. Not just people on the outside, but even people within Orange County. So I'll tell you really briefly about my life. So, like I said, like he said, a child of Mexican immigrants, one of them who was undocumented, came to this country in the trunk of a Chevy. First language I spoke was Spanish. Obviously, I learned English at some point. I went through the Anaheim school system. And the high school that I went to was 95% Latino, mostly Mexican, but also big, good chunk of Central Americans, some Caribbean, some South American students. For me, that was not just Orange County to me, that was the United States. I thought everything was like that. Yeah, I knew there was other communities in other parts of the United States. I knew there was different political ideologies, but it was a good, and my parents were working class. My mom, she was a tomato canner. My dad was a truck driver. And it was an Orange County that I liked. And it was an Orange County that I could not imagine anyone having a problem against. All of that the first recollection that I thought, maybe some people don't like us, was in 1994, which is 25 years ago. I was walking back home from school because I lived within walking distance of the high school I graduated, Anaheim High School, when a truck full of white teenage boys, they're yelling at me, 187, 187. I'm a nerd. I'm like, huh? 187? All right, whatever. I walk home and I turn on the television and I find out exactly what they're talking about. They're talking about something on the ballot that year called Proposition 187. How many of you have ever heard of 187? Yeah. Very few of you, because most of you weren't even born at that time, which is okay. I'm going to give you a quick lesson. 187 was a proposition that sought to make life miserable for undocumented people in California. It sought to ban undocumented students from public education, not just K through 12, but even colleges. It would prohibit any sort of medical use, welfare or medical anything except emergency room visits to undocumented people. It made anyone who worked for the government, if they suspected someone of being undocumented, they had to report them to the INS. It was a very, very nasty resolution. And on the language, it says, we're just against illegal immigration. We have no problem with legal immigration. But when it came to the actual unrolling and unveiling of the political campaign, it was totally xenophobic. It was totally anti-immigrant. And really, it was anti-Latino. So when I realized that, I thought, why would they... no, that's not why. I'm like, now I know why they were yelling at me 187, because in their idea, in their mind, I was undocumented, and more importantly, in my mind, in their mind, I was an alien. I was not supposed to be here. I was not a Californian, and I definitely wasn't an Orange Countyan. So because of 187, there's a lot of student walkouts. I mean, you're gonna, in the next couple of weeks, you're gonna get a lot of media attention about the 25th anniversary of 187. So I urge you all to pay attention to that. But I didn't do anything about it. It bothered me, but I just continued on with my life. But then everything changed in 1999 when a school board in Anaheim, the Anaheim Union High School District Board of Trustees, they announced to the world that they wanted to sue Mexico for $50 million for educating the children of undocumented people. So it didn't matter if the students were undocumented or not. If you had any sort of relation with an undocumented family, whether your parents or whatnot, therefore you were a drain on society. Therefore, Mexico should pay out $50 million. And that's when it clicked on me. There's some people in Orange County who think people like myself, who come from families, like my dad was undocumented, my mom came here legally, although that's a whole other story. They think we don't belong here. And then when I started, and I was a student, I was actually transferring from Orange Coast College to Chapman University at the time. And then when I would go to these school board meetings, I would see all sorts of people. I started reading the national attention. That's when I learned Orange County's racist, Orange County's this, and that. And I thought to myself, yeah, that obviously exists, but why isn't anyone talking about the Orange County that I know and love and that I belong to? And that's when I decided I'm gonna stay here in Orange County and I'm gonna try to make a difference. Because I'm from that generation, I'm Gen X, I'm Gen X, I'll just say I'm Gen X. Because I get confused. I'm 40 years old, so some people make it, you're super old millennial or super young Gen X or whatever. So, but I'm of the generation that if you were even slightly talented or slightly liberal, the minute you turned 18, you got the hell out of Orange County. You went to better, quote unquote, better places like Austin, Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, Chicago. There was such a brain drain because people did not want to live in this oppressive, terrible Orange County. But when I started seeing all these attacks that people are giving against undocumented people, I thought to myself, I'm gonna try to make this a place where young folks do want to stay and make this Orange County a completely different Orange County. So that's what I devoted my career to doing. As I started the OC Weekly. That's a very long story that I'm not going to tell. But what I decided to do at the OC Weekly, and the OC Weekly, it belonged to a type of journalism that most people don't even know about. It was called alternative journalism, alternative weeklies. This idea that there was the daily newspapers, which are really boring and very conservative and very dull, compared to the alt weeklies, which spoke more about the real things happening in Orange County, the young people, and more progressives. And so the OC Weekly, it's still around. It was a great paper, and it allowed me to tell the stories of the Orange County that I knew. So I started covering food, and food, we all love food. All of you are food journalists now because you take a picture of every damn lunch that you have. I'm guilty of that too, actually. But I started, more than just the pictures, I started telling the stories of this food. I started telling the stories of how Anaheim has the largest community of Middle Easterners in the United States outside of Detroit. And the way you could tell is on Brookhurst Avenue, there's all these wonderful Middle Eastern restaurants. And not just like, quote unquote, Middle Eastern, pan-Middle Eastern. You have Syrian restaurants, Palestinian restaurants, Lebanese, Libyan, Moroccan, just down there on Brookhurst. I started, of course, Orange County, we're famous for Little Saigon, the largest community of Vietnamese in the world outside of Vietnam. But all these, I was able to tell all these stories of immigrant communities through food. And now I'm not going to say I completely changed Orange County. I didn't, but the OC Weekly, we did help change Orange County. We did help make people think Orange County is cool. And not even so much cool, we did do an amazing job I started in 2001, I left in 2017. So in those 16 years, myself and other people, we put Orange County on the map for ourselves. Where people now, they value the fact that we're from Orange County. You don't have to say anymore, oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm from close to LA. Don't ask me exactly where, but yeah, I'm close to LA. No, now people say, I'm from Orange County. Yeah, I'm from Orange County, and I'll defend it, ride or die, as they say. And so I think the lesson that all of you, wherever you're from, can take from it is that, especially if you come from these communities that are always stereotyped as being lesser than others. I once did a column for the LA Times about that. Like, there are certain communities in California that you mention them and people start snickering. Like, and this is just what people say. I happen to believe all these cities are great, but Fresno, Bakersfield, Salinas, San Bernardino. If you think about, some of you are already like, number one, I would say, have you ever been to those cities? Have you ever talked to those folks? Have you ever really dug in to who they are, what their history is, and how people are trying to change them? I did. I have, as a reporter. Last year I did a story for Eater.com about traveling Highway 99. Highway 99 goes from roughly Bakersfield, all the way up to Yuba City and beyond. But I went from Bakersfield to Sacramento. In California, the Central Valley is stereotyped as a place of misery, as a place of exploitation, as a place of, where a lot of food of the United States comes from. But no one ever bothers to talk to those people. I did. I did it to let people know these are communities that matter. And hopefully what you folks can do is, if you love your community, and obviously I'm just talking about, in this case, geographic communities, but whatever your community is, ethnic community, religious community, LGBT community, whatever it is, take those lessons. Be an advocate and be not a spokesperson, but a champion for those communities. If people are degrading your communities, tell them what's up. And tell them what's up with the facts. And you tell them what's up until they shut up because they don't have anything to say anymore. That's what you have to do. I would say be nice about it, or discursive, if that's even a word, about it. But that's what you have to do. If you come from those communities and those communities are maligned, it is your obligation to do something about it. That's what I did. And I stayed I'm now at the LA Times. I've been there a little bit less than a year, but I stayed at the Orange County Weekly as long as I could, because for me, that was my mission in life, to make Orange County a place that people could respect, or at least people could know a little bit more about. I always got offers to go to other publications, bigger national publications, and I always refused. I always refused, because that's how much Orange County means to me, especially to lift up a community that had been stereotyped wrongly for far too long, and also to go after the people who were stereotyping all that stuff. But anyways, I could go on and on. I don't want to go on and on, because I want you to ask me questions. I like questions. And besides, I'm out at 2:15. I'm always a stickler for time, so. Gentleman right here. Oh, we're gonna have a mic? Cool. I will wait for that.
Should we give a round of applause for him?
Yeah!
Thank you. I don't speak for the applauses. I speak to be able to reach to one person. So if one of you got your mind changed, that's cool. Someone raised their hand, so that's cool. Okay.
So my question is a two-part question. So first question is, what prompted you into wanting to write a book about food? First of all, I guess you could say specifically Mexican food.
Mm-hmm.
And the second question I have is, you went to community college, so what was your major?
Sure. I wanted to write a book about Mexican food because no one had actually done a full-fledged history of Mexican food in the United States. Obviously, Mexican food speaks a lot to me, more like to my panza, but my gut, so to speak, in English. But that's why, because no one had ever done it. As a reporter, especially as a reporter, I always tell people, you should be doing the stories that no one else is doing. You should be doing the stories that have been told wrong. So I didn't even do it as a Mexican. I just did it as a reporter. So that's why I did that. And then at Orange Coast College, I was actually a film major. I was a film major. OCC has a great little film program. And of course, I don't do movies or anything like that. But what community college taught me, it really did. It's funny because you said I was an honors student. I was in honors classes, but I was that type of nerd. Maybe usually they're in community college. The type of nerd that you never do the homework, you get A's on the test, and then you get C's and D's. Any of you like that? Because that was me all the way. I graduated with a 2.4 GPA from Anaheim High, and then I finished my college career with a 3.97.
Yeah.
It was all because of community college, with means and shape. The only thing I never got A's on, by the way, was math. I'm not good at math. Sorry. yeah. Not math people. Okay, another question right here.
One of the questions is, do you have any advice for us as students to try to make our environment better in schools and our communities where we're dealing with racism?
What's the advice for those of you who are dealing with racism in your communities? You have to speak out. I'm just a repository of small little aphorisms or life lessons. And one of the ones that I always tell people is, don't suffer in silence. If you are being maligned, if you are being harassed, if you're being intimidated, anything of that, fight back. Everyone fights back in their own ways. In some cases, you talk to whoever whether it's a counselor, a teacher, whatever, that's going to have a little bit more authority. Some of you might like direct action, strikes, protests, whatever, something like that. Others, might go on to other things or whatever. But the most important thing is, do not just stay silent. Do not suffer in silence. I always find there's strength in numbers. Find the people who feel like you, create a group, unite together, figure out what you can do. But the most important thing, do not suffer in silence. Because that's the other thing, especially at schools, especially at community colleges, there's always got to be an adult, or there's always got to be someone with more authority that's going to not only be there for you, but wants to be there with you. In the back.
I've heard a rumor, I don't know if it's a rumor, but I've heard that Orange County was founded by members of the former Confederacy. Is that true?
Absolutely true. Orange County was not just founded by members of the Confederates, but the state assembly member who submitted the resolution to California so that Orange County could secede from Los Angeles County, because Orange County used to be a part of LA County, he was a member of the Ku Klux Klan. And the OG Ku Klux Klan, we all know that the Klan has white robes. The original Ku Klux Klan was black robes. And you want to tell stories about hiding history? The guy's name, by the way, is Henry W. Head. So he comes out in the Orange County history books, but none of them say that he was a member of the Ku Klux Klan. The only one that does is the biography of Henry W. Head, written by his son, who ended up becoming an Orange County district attorney. And the son said, oh yeah, I can't remember the exact quote, but the son totally justified his father's membership in the Ku Klux Klan. And final bit, if you go to the Santa Ana History Room, they do have a little booklet where it has a picture of Henry W. Head in that OG Klan robe. So yeah, Orange County, founded by Klansmen, now filled with Mexicans.
Yeah!
And other people, of course. Orange County has been majority minority since 2004. Next question. Another
One
one.
thing, I heard you talking about Santa Ana, and if you're ever around on Thursday nights, go to 4th Street Market. It's called the Kulai Project. It's an open mic. It's a really cool music scene. I think you'd really like it.
I'm there all the time because my wife has a market there called Alta Baja Market. Around that time that they're doing their music, I'm taking out the garbage bags.
Yeah!
Happy wife, happy life. Okay.
I'm getting to the next one.
Okay,
I was
cool.
just remembering reading about the street signs used to say, "Welcome, Klansmen."
Yeah, oh yeah, in Anaheim, Klansmen, I greet you. Kaigi, that's what it used to be. Okay, next question.
Hello. I just wanted to ask you how you felt about the gentrification that's going on 4th Street in Santa Ana. And like an example would be moving out the Noches de Altares. Another example would be moving out the Mexican Independence Day, because it was too like disturbing to the little like hipster shops.
Yeah.
So like, how do you feel about that?
It wasn't disturbing to the hipster shops, it was disturbing to the loft dwellers that were there. That's what it was. It's unfortunate with both of those events because they had to get kicked out anyway because the Santa Ana City Council, which is all Latino by the way, they voted a couple of years ago to make a light rail that's going to go down right through, so you wouldn't be able to have events anymore. What's interesting, well, I think it's interesting, and part of me is sarcastic, is in the past it was very easy to ridicule and hate gentrifiers because there were a bunch of hipsters from elsewhere. I mean, usually, bearded hipsters, like white hipsters mostly. But if you go down to downtown, you do find those, but a lot of those gentrifiers, they're also Latinos and they're also Asian Americans. So how do you then critique gentrification? I'm not saying that you can, that you cannot, but I think what you have to do, it's a class-based analysis. Not to get all Marxist on y'all, but I'm a Marxist of the Groucho variety, by the way. Only the old people will know exactly what I mean by that. So you have to critique. I think what's important is you have to fight for those businesses that are there that do still maintain those working class roots and be able to bring those people in. And if there's businesses that exclude those types of working class folks, then you have to critique those as well. But you can't say racism anymore. You can't, because can you call a brown person who's middle class or higher class who doesn't want to identify as lower class racist? You can call them self-hating, but that's not racism. So you have to attack them with that class-based analysis. That's what I would say. Other question?
Thank you for everything you just said. I have a question. You talked about areas in depravity, like where our college is located and that image that can be given out. Do you have any suggestions for us as students as to what we can do for our own community so that we live in San Jacinto and obviously...
Oh yeah, up there, yeah.
A lot of people say, oh, you live in San Jacinto. Yeah, I do, and I'm really proud of where I live. I love where I live.
Yeah, cool city.
How do we get that message out? Because the message that actually is coming into us is, oh God, you live there, you live in Hemet, and I love where I live. But I don't know, as just a student, how do I get that message out there?
Nowadays, it's all about the message. Who is making those messages? Who is broadcasting those messages? Unfortunately, with San Jacinto and Hemet and the communities up there, the message is being sent out by the mainstream media. And the only time the media ever cares is if there's crime up there. Idlewild, they always get all the positive press because, oh, it's so beautiful and idyllic. And isn't Idlewild the place that has like a cat as a mayor or something, or a dog? I think so. But you see, that's what I think. It's a dog. The dog is the mayor of Idlewild. Thank you. True story. So, okay, if the media's not going to be by your side, then what do? You become your own media. Whether it's a student newspaper, whether it's a community newspaper, whether it's as simple as an Instagram account, and tell those stories. What is the story of San Jacinto? Honestly, all I know about San Jacinto is that my former producer for my KCRW segment, he was from San Jacinto. I know there's a tortilleria up there that I haven't tried yet, but I'm going to try it as part of my tortilla tournament for KCRW. But I don't think anything bad about it. But so those of you who do love, you have to create that message and you have to broadcast that message. Okay.
We have time for one more.
One more question. And by the way, afterwards, if you want to talk to me individually, I'll stick around for a little bit. So, all right, one last question.
Speaking of Orange County changes, what do you feel is the driving force behind it turning blue this year?
Okay, so Orange County, which was a place where President Ronald Reagan once said all the good Republicans go to die, in 2018, all the Democrats, or rather all the congressional seats are all Democrat, or all blue. Absolutely historic. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it that I lost a bet and I'm now a Democrat. Like, I was always declined to stay. Another Groucho Marx saying I would never belong to a party that would have me as a member. But I promised the Democrats in Laguna Woods, hey, if you folks get the majority of the seats, I'll register as a Democrat, and all of them won it. What happened is a different Orange County. It is that Orange County that OC Weekly fought for. It's an Orange County that really promoted and supported good progressive folks, whereas in the past they'd be labeled as communists and radicalists, or radicals and anarchists and all that. Is promoting those people. It's also people finally just getting disgusted. Not even, obviously, you know, you could say whatever you want about our president. Obviously, I have my own opinions about that, although I can't say them that much anymore with LA Times. But what I will say is that a lot of people in Orange County, they just said enough is enough with the nasty rhetoric that had always been said, oh yeah, that's just Orange County. People are like, no, we don't want politicians like Dana Rohrabacher who are going to be saying all these horrible things about people or communities. We don't want politicians like Diane Harkey down in South Orange County who all just malign people. We want people who actually reflect our values. We want people who aren't in it for themselves, but are in it for everyone else. So I think that really was, that's what really contributed a lot to that. 2020 is going to be interesting because the Republican Party, they're mad. They are angry, and they're going to come. I mean, a lot of people are going to be paying attention, and there are a lot of people are going to be coming in and telling those stories, and when they need someone to give a quote about Orange County, guess who they're going to call? Thank you so much, folks. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Topic that I'm going to talk about. The last thing I'll say about myself, if you like anything I have to say today, of course, please follow me on social media. We know the game. Twitter, I'm all at Gustavo Arellano. Instagram, I'm Gustavo_Arellano. That's mostly food photos and places where I go and all that. And then Facebook, you can just find me. I'm not on Snap. I'm not on TikTok. Sorry, I'm old. So I know exactly what I'm going to talk about, but I'm just going to read the title, just in case you don't know. So the prompt, and thank you for Sal for inviting me. I really do appreciate it. And so the topic I'm going to talk about is politics of identity. How do the ways in which people and communities identify themselves and others transform societies? So this is really the story of my professional life. It's a story of my life. This idea that if you come from
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gustavo. I really appreciate you coming out and speaking to us today. It really touches me as somebody who's going to be studying ethnic studies and gender studies. So it really, really touched me to heart. So I'd like to present to you this presentation thing.
Cool.
Yeah!
Thank you. I'll be Okay, I'll check it out.
It's never gonna happen. I don't know a lot about Mexican food.
You know good food though. Italians make good food, so good food is good food.
That is correct. All right.